So when did you start boxing?
I started boxing at the age of 18. I did kickboxing from like 11 till 18. So I was doing kickboxing same time that Chantal Cameron was. And then she transferred to boxing, and then I transferred to boxing.
Did it translate quite well? Did you find it quite easily?
Yeah, because I found that when I kickboxed, I'd like throw like combinations or just finish on a big roundhouse kick. So I preferred boxing anyway, really.
Yeah.
Probably should have done it a little bit sooner. But I just really enjoyed like competing. Like literally every week I'd be fighting in kickboxing.
And where did you kickbox?
Tamworth Kickboxing Academy. Oh, okay. Yeah, with Lance Magno. It was good. It was a good. I really enjoyed it, to be fair. I think if it was an Olympic sport, I'd have just stayed down that route. Mm-hmm. But because it was an Olympic sport, I made that transition.
And what got you into kickboxing?
I was just like always restless and playing up at home and play fighting with my brothers, and my mum she wanted to take me karate a little bit more to learn self-defense, and then I found it boring just standing there.
Yeah, I did karate for like a month, and no disrespect to people who do karate, but it was so boring.
Yeah, kickboxing was on upstairs, and I was like, I want to do that. And then I ended up doing that instead. Yeah,
well, even just smashing the pads in that. We never did that with karate. It was just like a lot of punching
standing there, holding it. Yeah, hold the positions and just shout really loud.
So when did you give up doing karate? Was you only doing it short?
I literally did it a couple of weeks. And I was like, and then I seen the kickboxing upstairs. I was like, oh, I want to do that, and then just started going to kickboxing classes.
And when did you start competing?
Pretty much straight away, like 12 years old. I didn't really want. I said to the instructor, my teacher Lance, I was like, I don't want to do my belts. I just want to fight. So I was just fighting from the beginning. I didn't want to do my gradings. I weren't really interested in going through the bouts.
Yeah. Was there a lot of opponents back then?
Yeah, loads. I was competing pretty much every week. So it was really good. That's all I wanted to do.
Was there a lot of sparring as well?
Yeah.
Was it with guys too?
Yeah, I always would mix it up with guys as well as girls. Obviously, I think with kickboxing, you'd never really thought about like getting in there with like the difference. You just trained all together. Mm-hmm. So there was never really any boys can't, no girls and boys. That was only until I transferred to boxing when I turned up at the gym and he was like, "You're a girl. If you're not going to take it serious, then you're not coming in," sort of thing. And I was like, "What?"
Was there a lot of bad habits from the kickboxing that you had to sort of like unlearn for so many years?
Yeah, my stance was really like narrow from like kickboxing, so I had to like widen my back foot a little bit, move it out a little bit more. To be fair, I never really had the habit of intention of nearly kicking or anything, so that was one good thing.
I can imagine, yes, for some people it's so drilled in you.
In case you brought your leg up to go and give a kick. No, so it wasn't too bad. My coach, my amateur coach who I'm still with now, he had to iron out a lot of the creases.
What's his name?
Carly G, so from East Side. So yeah, he ironed out a lot of them, and then just went straight into boxing really.
And why did you switch to boxing?
So I seen Chantal go onto the Great Britain team, and I thought I want to go down the Olympic boxing route. So then I swapped over. I had a few amateur fights from East Side, and I was kind of like in the middle of like my career. Didn't know what to do and wanted to take boxing a little bit more serious, so I joined the army, and then I kind of did all my army training but got recognised for my boxing and my sport.
Did you join the army to box?
Yeah.
Was that always the goal?
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of like took the risk hoping that I'd get on, because I knew they had a full-time boxing team. Mm-hmm.
That's the dream, being paid to box.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I want to do that. So that's what I did. I joined, did my training, did my army training, and then I got trials for the army boxing team. And then I was on the army boxing team full time, so it was a good life.
How did you find the army training to get in? Was it quite simple?
It was hard, but I think because of like my discipline and like dedication sort of thing, it didn't really faze me. I enjoyed like the challenge, so it was good.
What was the hardest part of the army training?
Probably having to, when you go on exercise and you go and sleep in the field in the middle of the night, you have to wake up and do something called stag, which means you just go and like protect the enemy line, and you have to lie there with your gun. But realistically, there's not actually any enemy because you're doing a fake like war kind of thing. But you still have to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. You have to put either wet clothes on if they're still wet from the day before.
Oh, no.
Yeah, put them on, and you have to go lie down and just like try and stay awake, because sometimes they'll do like pretend like enemies coming to get you. So then you have to like wake everyone up that you're like that's still sleeping. But that's probably the worst for me, like the broken sleep.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I'm terrible if my sleep's wrong.
I'm like strict with my sleep. 9:30 or 10 o'clock latest. I'm like bed lights out.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about like the Navy SEALs with the Hell Week? They just like they hardly sleep for 7 days.
I read that David Goggins book. It seemed like brutal.
Yeah, I had his audio book. I'm still going through it at the moment. It's so good. So good.
I'm not sure I could have done that bit, but that's the thing that would have killed me, the sleepless nights, 100%.
So when you got into the army and they put you through, what was the process of getting on the boxing team? Was there trials for that as well?
Yeah, so you went down, it was like a 2-day trial for the army boxing team. You did like track sessions in the morning, pretty similar to the GB really, track sessions, boxing sessions, sparring against the other girls on there. So you had like, back then the likes of Caris Hart and Still was on the team with me. Megan, who was a Scottish boxing team, Steph Rowe, who she boxed for England. So it was a strong, Alana, who did the Commonwealth Games for Ireland, so it was a strong army team, to be fair, and I was sparring those, so it was through in the deep end. But yeah, they seemed to be impressed, and then they took me straight to Eindhoven Box Cup. So yeah, then I won bronze at Eindhoven, and they said, "Oh, we want you on the team full time."
How quickly was it from them taking you on to you winning bronze?
So they took me as a reserve because Caris got injured. So they rang me up, said, "Do you want to come and compete for us? Caris is injured." So I actually fought at 57 at Eindhoven, which is a couple weights above what I box at. I won bronze, and then there was like, "We want you to be on the team." So then I joined the team. Yeah.
How did you find boxing like at a heavier weight? Was it harder?
Back then, because I used to kickbox at 57, 60, so that was like my normal weight then. Mm-hmm. It wasn't only until I got onto the army boxing team that my weight just dropped off me, like training full time.
Yeah.
And then I got down to 54 because I was going to do the elites at 54. Got down to 54, and then it just kept coming off. I was like, "Oh, I might as well do 51." And then I did 51, and I stayed at that for like 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it was like towards the end, like the last 6 to 9 months, it was hell.
I can imagine. And what was your diet like back then?
It was all right at the start. At the start, it was all right, but then towards the end, it was kind of like eating very little to make the weight and like draining yourself to, get to the weight. But you had to compete at the weight, so I didn't really have a choice. So did what I had to do to get to the weight.
That sounds horrible. It's like even when we spoke with Frankie and you hear about the stories of just making weight, and was it Matthew Macklin having like an apple a day? Like you're doing that and you're fighting. Like there's no other sport where you're depriving yourself that much.
No, I remember at one tournament, we used to get, when we went to a tournament in Bulgaria, me and Shona, they're called like wafers. Obviously they're like really, really light. That's all I ate for dinner for one night. It was like vanilla wafers, and they tasted like the best thing I've ever tasted. But if I ate them now, I'd be like, "Oh, it's disgusting." Oh,
I do love wafers, but you got to have it with ice cream.
No, but these were like dry vanilla wafers, but they weighed like next to nothing, so I could eat quite a few of them for my dinner.
So when I boxed in Miami, right, we had a call the night before when I was meant to fight this guy. And they were like, well, my coach got off the phone. He's like, yeah. And it's like, so your opponent's 12 kilos overweight. And I was there. I had a prawn salad, and it cost me like $25 for 3 poxy prawns and a bit of lettuce. I was watching my water. I'm like, he's 12 kilos overweight, and we've flown all the way out.
Full on steak and everything.
Yeah. I was so annoyed. That all got sorted out. But yeah, it is crazy what you do to make weight.
Yeah, it's mad how even though you're making the weight, you still manage to perform like you used to just performing. I don't know how I performed for so long with eating so little. It started to affect me towards the end of my career on GB.
Especially at tournaments, when you're boxing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. Yes, it must be all right. I've never done that, and
everyone thought that I made the weight easy, but it's just because I never complained about it to anybody else. But it was hard.
And obviously, as a pro now, I'm guessing, have you got a nutritionist on board?
Yeah. So I work with Prime and Health. I'm boxing at super bantamweight now, so it's a healthier weight. So from flyweight to super bantamweight, more natural weight. You feel so much stronger. Yeah, loads stronger. Just stronger, fueled, and just healthier. I had, when I was on Team GB, I got a really bad injury in my hip, and then it triggered off like some arthritis thing that I then had. I think it was all down to like the weight making and like being so
malnourished.
Like, yeah, proper. So, but now I don't really have much problems with like injuries or anything, and I think it's because I'm just healthy.
So how did you box for Team GB? Was it after you won a national?
Yeah, so I won the nationals, got trials, and then got on literally straight away. So I was on in the October 2018 after I won. So it was quick. It's a quick turnaround. I only had 4 fights before I got into Team GB.
And how did it feel getting? Was it a letter through the door when they called you?
Yeah, it was a letter. Yeah, it was a letter and an email as well. So I was buzzing. I mean, it was my dream. That was my dream to get on Team GB. And I didn't think I'd do it as quick as what I did it in, because obviously I got into the army boxing team and it was like it was my first time in the elite, so I was the underdog and I won them, and then I was like, oh wow, and then got trials, and then it was like, yeah, you're on, and it was just fast track.
From when you started boxing, how long was it until you started boxing for Team GB?
Pretty much just like 6 to 9 months after. Like, yeah, it was quick.
That must be the quickest turnaround for any boxer.
Yeah, I literally, like I said, had 4 fights and then I was on Team GB. So it was like I had like 29. So I've not had that many amateurs, but all of those were on in like tournaments and with Team GB.
But I think as well, where you're around such good talent all the time, you probably just sponged off of them anyway, right? You probably learned so much, especially in the army.
Yeah, I think as well with the training in the army, because it's a full-time program, you got to like, I think you just sped up straight away, and you got to the same sort of standard as everybody else. So it was good because I mean, I don't think I'd have been where I was today if I didn't get that like full-time attention. Worked closely with like Kyle. He was a really good coach in the army, and Reese. So they were always like putting time and effort into you as well. Like even say when the day finished, like I was the first one in the gym and last one in the gym, and it like clearly paid off. So yeah, it was good.
Would you say you were pretty talented as soon as you walked in as well? Because I know there's a lot of people that it's just hard work where they've got there. Did you already have the knack?
I think. No, I've always worked hard within it, so I've like always have to graft within it. But not only that is like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so like I'll like go over it and go over it and over and over until I've got it right. So like, and like if I make a mistake, I'll like keep correcting myself and keep doing it and keep doing it. And I think that's more of the how I got better and better. It's just constantly repeating things.
I'm pretty sure, so your brain with psychology, apparently you learn everything when you actually go to sleep. So all the circuits and everything that you've been thinking about in the day, of course you learn it in the gym, but it all it all comes together like during your sleep and everything else. That's when all the magic happens in your brain. So I could be completely wrong there.
You need to start napping more then, don't
you? Honestly, yeah, sleep and recovery is the best thing. Like when you start hearing about these pros that are like sleeping 2 hours in between their sessions, I wouldn't probably recommend that.
That's literally what most people did on GB. Like I know that Sol, he like naps literally before he gets in the ring.
Yeah,
Solomon because he's like sleeping before he gets in the ring. I'm like, how are you doing that? I'm like trying to sit still. Yeah. I can't sit still really.
He's probably always been the last one on as well though,
right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
So Team GB, how many fights did you have for them?
So I had 4 before I got on, and then the rest I had 29 fights. I'm not very good at maths.
Yeah, 25 for Team GB. And what was your biggest win?
When I boxed the silver world medalist and I beat her. And probably, so that one, definitely, beating the silver world medalist.
What country was she from?
France.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so beating her. And
whereabouts was that?
That was in France. So I got a win in France. Yeah, it was good. She wasn't very happy afterwards. And then beating bronze Commonwealth gold medalist. No, bronze Commonwealth medalist. Yeah, beating her.
When did she win bronze? Did she win that in Australia?
Yeah. And she was from New Zealand. That was my first tournament for GB. So that was a really good one. Just for my first tournament to beat somebody like that. They're probably my best achievements.
And in terms of memories, have you got any good standout memories of Team GB? Because you must have gone to so many countries.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado training camps, unreal. Like the facilities they've got is just amazing. But I don't know whether it's the best or the worst, but it always massive memories is Bulgaria. To turn on the tap and it comes out like orangeade. And like a load of us got food poisoning, but I just never forget it because it was like we turned up and And it was like when you knew you was either going to a training camp in Bulgaria or a tournament, you just knew you was going back to that hotel every single time, and it was like cockroaches, like having to shake your quilt and everything. It was the worst, but you know, it's the memories that you won't forget.
So what food was it like there as well? Because you got to eat foreign food when you go to some of these places.
Horrendous. I thought I'm not going to eat that food because it was like cold rice that comes out all the time. It's like every night it's this cold sticky rice. Probably
the same rice from the night before.
Yeah, probably, and like this beef. It's always like beef goulash and stuff like that. I was like, oh, it's horrendous.
Did you like try and pack loads of snacks in your suitcase and stuff, like protein bars?
Literally, that's why all our cases are usually over.
So what did you pack? What was the care package?
Protein porridge pots, Rice Krispie bars, protein bars, some peanut butter. I got a thing for peanut butter.
So you said sorry, go on.
There was a Lidl there, so we always used to raid the Lidl. So.
Oh, nice. You said the training facility in Colorado was amazing.
Yeah.
What was the camp like there, and what facilities were you using?
The camp was tough. I mean, we were doing the sparring that we were doing against. Obviously, it's in altitude, so it's hard enough as it is running and training.
How high up is it?
It's quite tough, yeah. But we'd do 3.5 minute rounds, which was, they're used to it. Obviously, they do it all the time. But when we was like it was hard. And then they've got, like, they have their own recovery centre thing with ice baths, jacuzzi, them Normatec boots, like where you can watch TV, play games, everything you think of. Indoor running track thing upstairs at in the gym.
Did you like the ice baths back then?
Yeah. So I did that. I did the Normatec boots, but they weren't really a big thing in the UK when I went there. So when it started getting quite big here. So then we brought them in. But yeah, that was probably the best. That was the best. And even when you're in the cookhouse, like, the food was unreal. But it's all healthy food, but it's all cooked properly. Like, apart from they had like a waffle machine. This is not as healthy, but it was good. It's good stuff.
But if it's training camp, you didn't have a fight necessarily at the end, right?
No, but you still have to weigh in every day.
Oh.
So yeah, you always have to weigh in and stay within your 5% fight weight. So
that must be so hard just because of water weight, 5%.
Yeah, it's difficult. So obviously, a lot of people are like, they're always like on top of you for your weight. So if you're going over, like, they'll have a moan at you. Just because if you get a tournament, you could get a tournament like, oh, you're going to fight next week, and if you're not in that 5%, they're like, how do you expect to be fight? How do you expect us to put you forward for tournaments if you're not staying on top of your weight? Because ideally, they don't want you to drastically kill yourself to make the weight to a tournament. But at the same time, like, you got to try and be sensible. But then it's if you're struggling with the weight anyway, it's hard. So it's difficult.
And making weight as a female as well, there's certain times, right, the month that you, like, I'm new to it all, but I have been told there's a whole process, right? And there's certain times when you might carry a lot more water weight. Water weight,
yeah, exactly. And women generally, like, hold more water anyway. Like, I know that I could, like, sweat out nearly 2 kilos if I wanted to in a session. I mean, I did.
Would you be able to do it on the same day and then fight?
So one of my tournaments for GB, I lost 2 kilo, and I mean, I shouldn't have wore that many my sweatsuit, but what else was I supposed to do? Do you know what I mean? But I lost the weight, and then I boxed the next day, and then as soon as you box, you put your layers back on and you sweat it out, and then you weigh in on the night, so they'll check your weight in the night, and then you weigh in the morning. If you need to get anything off in the morning, you'll get it off in the bath or you skip off.
Must be so nice now as a pro, not doing any of that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not an easy ride still to make the weight. I feel like I've grown into this weight now, so it's still difficult to make the weight. I still have to be careful. But I think that's just the life of a boxer. Like, I don't really eat like a load of rubbish. Do you know what I mean? But
is it just volume out of camp gets more?
Yeah, and like I say, water weight as well. Like, I know women. I know I hold a lot of water, so I'll just say, come to the end of camp, I'll go low fibre, low carb, and I'll probably water load to get the last bit of weight off.
So when did you decide you wanted to go professional?
When they took my weight out of the Olympics, I kind of was like, it was like a big kick in the face. Obviously, I've been training for 4 years to try and fight for the Paris Olympic spot. I didn't get the Tokyo spot. I'd only just got onto Team GB, so I just missed out. They said that I was in the running for it, but I just missed out on that one. So I was like, right, I'm going to try and go for Paris. And then they moved the weights from 51 to 52, which suited me better. And then they took 52 out, and it was like 50 or 54. I was like, there's no way I can get to 50. I was like, I mean, if you've seen pictures of me, I was like skin and bone. So
did you consider going to 54? Was that on the cards? Or did they not want you?
They told me I was too small for 50. What? No, they told me I was too small for 54, even though I'm boxing at super bantamweight now, which is 55. So I think they were just so used to seeing me at that weight, of being like skinny and small. They didn't realise that I'd kickboxed for years at 57, 60. They'd just see me. I won the elites at 51, and they was like, you're too small for 54. So they didn't really give me an option. And in my head, I thought, even if I do go up to 54, you got Charlie Davidson who's going up to 54. Then you got Olivia Holmes who's already at 54. There was other girls in that position. So it's like, I could waste another year and still not get that slot. Do you know what I mean? Charlie had been on since Tokyo, so the likelihood was that they were picking her anyway because she's going for another cycle. So I just thought, you know what, this is my time to. And then the Commonwealth Games was the final bit when they took. I was being told I was going to the Commonwealth Games at 52, and then a month before they told me the weights had changed and they took out 52 and it'd gone to 50, and I was like, oh wow. Obviously it was in my hometown, so I was devastated. So that was it for me. I was like, I'm done. That was like literally the final straw. I couldn't have stayed on it. Yeah, it was massive. Like it was like one of the lowest points in my career. I was like, hit me hard, but that was literally the final point for me. I was like, there's no point in me. What am I going to do here? And I'll be a sparring partner.
So had you had quite a few promoters and managers reach out to you for when you were ready to turn over?
I had a chat with a couple of managers before that. Like they'll always follow your journey as an amateur. The good amateurs they follow, and they keep in touch with you, and I had a few stay in touch with them, but I never really had the intention to turn pro because I said to myself, because I've been in it from such a young age, like 11, from combat sport. I said, you know what, if I go to the Olympics, win a medal, that's it, I'll hang up my gloves. I'll go into coaching or just be a normal person. But because obviously that didn't happen, the goalpost changed, and that's why I've gone professional, and I think win titles and then I'll hang them up.
So who did you turn pro with?
So I originally turned pro with Max McCracken. Was with him for I think about a year. Things didn't work out quite well with him. I would have gone with my amateur coach, but he never had his license back when I was leaving GB. So I was like, I need to decide what I'm doing here. I'm leaving GB. I've left the army. I was kind of like in no man's land. Like I needed to get my professional career started. And how old were you when you were making this decision? 26. 26. Yeah. So for me, like time's ticking. I need to get in and out. So I said to him, like, what are you doing? Like, can you sort your license out? He was like, I'm doing it. It never got sorted for a while. He got his license. Then later down the year, he said to me, look, there was no like bad feelings. Like you've got to do what's best for you. And then for some reason I went down with Max McCracken. I thought it was the best thing to do with like being in Birmingham. Things didn't work out very well at all in that situation. So then I managed to get out of my contract just earlier this year. So got out of that situation, and I'm back with my amateur coach, happy fighter. So great. Yeah. And how was your pro debut? Where was that? So I was signed with Fight Zone for a year. My debut was in Sheffield. That was good because it was on BBC iPlayer, the first one. It was good. It was a good debut, yeah. So I got a stoppage of a girl that never really gets stopped. So put a little bit of a name out there from the start. And how did you find dropping back in time in rounds as well? Yeah, the pace is really like a lot faster. But I think it suits me quite well because I've got a high work rate. I mean, I think I would like to go the 3-minute rounds because I think you'd see more stoppages in the women, which would be a little bit better. Because I think the pace, you don't really get to set, like you go to like to knock them out or set something up, and then the round's done. And you're like, or you can see that they hurt, but the round gets finished. So you're like, that's the only thing. Yeah. So you had your pro debut. You've changed coaches. When did you change coaches? Was it literally only just recently? Have you had a fight since? Yeah, so I left Max last Christmas time, like Christmas just gone. I was training with Amir for a bit, and then I had a chat with. I sorted out my manager's contract on with. I've had 2 fights with Carly since, and my coach, my amateur coach since. One was local in Birmingham, and then the last one was on the GBM show. So I took that one with like 9 days notice.
Yeah, GBM's good, and also top tier for small hall shows now with the DAZN and everything else. It's a perfect place to be.
Yeah, I feel like I mean GBM, like they've got the contract with DAZN, and they do good shows, like their shows, all the media and stuff like that they do, the press conferences, makes it feel really good. It's a bit like a matchroom show, but the same sort of stuff around it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you've only had, is it 5 fights as a pro now?
Yeah, 5
and you're already going into a British title fight.
Yeah.
Like, again, that is pretty much unheard of for a 6'5" British and Commonwealth.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I called her out, so I got what I wanted. But I did say as soon as I turned professional that I wanted to be fast tracked. I'm 29 now, so I was like, right, let's get the titles. What's the point in me just fighting like punch bags for another 4 fights? I said that in the press conference when she said like you've only had 5 fights. I was like, yeah, but what's the point in me? Like, I'm just doing what you did. If I go and have 9 fights and the same as you, like I might as well just get chucked in there in the deep end. Test myself, fight for titles. And
also, it might be hard if you are selling tickets still. It's very hard selling tickets when there's not a live opponent. So for you to fight her is it billed as a 50-50? It must be, right?
So, yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah. So for it to be billed as a 50-50 fight, that puts bums on seats.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like compared to the British title fight that they had with like Stevie Levy. I say this is more of a British title fight,
She beat Stevie, right?
Yeah. So. But I don't know if you watched the fight or not.
I haven't seen it, no. I saw a record and I saw Stevie was a win. I thought, that's a good win.
Yeah. But I mean, this will be a good British title fight, two British. She's got the belts as well, so I've got like good pedigree.
And how do you beat her?
Oh, I can't give away my game plan.
No?
I can't just in case she's watching. Just to be fair, either whatever she brings, I know that I can adapt to, so it's irrelevant to whatever she turns up with. I mean, I know my fight plan, and I don't think she'll be able to like manage with whatever I put in front of her. So.
Yeah. And what's sparring been like for this camp?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I've been sparring some of the GB girls because she's still quite amateur style. Mm-hmm. So sparring some of the GB girls, Nina Hughes, Jo Wan. We're going back up to GB Friday. And then we've been doing sparring with some of the amateur boys as well, just that speed. So yeah, I've been having good rounds.
And have you sparred her before? Have you seen her on the circuit?
No. We asked like my first year. I asked my old coach to get me some sparring with her, just for like get some different kind of sparring, and never really come round to it. So I've never sparred her. No. So. And
do you know any girls that you've been boxing that have sparred her?
Yeah, obviously Nina Hughes fought her, so I'm quite close to Nina Hughes. We got a good relationship. We have good spars. Like she's fought a Shannon Ryan, or sparred Shannon Ryan quite a few times. So there's a few girls out there that have sparred her. So I've had a little bit of an insight, but I mean she doesn't. There's nothing that really I would never underestimate her. She's obviously good. She's got the belts. Do you know what I mean? But like with what I've done and who's been in front of me, it's nothing that I can't handle. Do you know what I mean?
And I'm guessing it's your first 10-rounder.
Yeah. So first 10 round. Although I did 10 rounds in kickboxing when
really?
I boxed for titles. Yeah. So.
Oh, it's 10-rounders in kickboxing.
Yeah. So I boxed for kickboxing titles back when I was younger. So I was like 16. So I've done 10 rounders. I spar 8s regular. I've done 10-round spars. I know it's different when you get in there, but. My fitness is always on point. So
yeah, well, I've seen even most boxers that are doing only 4-rounders. I see them like workhorse. We was with a guy called John Isaacs the other day. It's his debut coming up, and he trained his arse off for a full hour, and he could easily go straight into an 8-rounder if he had to.
Yeah.
So I think the fitness of pro fighters anyway, it is your first 10-rounder, but like you said, fitness shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think I think my engine's one of the best things that and work rate, so I don't think 10 rounds would be a problem. If anything, I get better as the round goes on, so I think it'd be even better for me.
And what do you do out of boxing?
What don't I do? So I'm a primary PE teacher, I'm an amateur boxing coach, and then a personal trainer. So that's literally it. If I'm not at work teaching, I'll be at the boxing gym coaching. If I'm not coaching, I'll be PTing. And then I go and see family and friends.
That is a lot. That is so.
It's all boxing,
yeah.
all boxing sport. But yeah, it's busy.
How did you always want to be a teacher? Was that the original plan?
No. So when I left Team GB, I left the army as well because back then they didn't. It's kind of one of them, like, they don't always support your professional career because it's not lottery funded. So obviously Team GB is lottery funded, so the army backed it all the way, and they put me on this like special elite athlete program where you can't get dragged back to work even if there's a war. They can't touch you because you're an elite soldier. So they would always support that. But being a professional, because it's kind of like another paid addition, like outside of work, they don't always support it. So I left the army, went into the reserves, just in case they was like, you've got to come back to work, when I wanted to do my professional career. So when I left the army, I was like, okay, I'm going to need to get a job because I've got a mortgage to pay for and I've got bills to pay for. So like I went into the real world of having to work. So I found a job. So I found that job, and I got to do my level 4 sports coach as well as do the job. So
did you do a lot of qualifications in the army?
I did before the army. So I went to college, did my personal training and stuff like that. In the army, I did my lorry license. That's
a good one. It's quite expensive, though. Is it CPC?
Yeah, I mean, C and D. Yeah, C and D. So I could drive a lorry, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Remember how to take the hatch thing off. I'd be able to drive it. That's about it. But yeah, so then I had to get a job basically, and that's the route I went down.
Yeah, so teaching, obviously that must take so much energy out of you.
Yeah, I didn't realise how like mentally tiring it is being a teacher. Like my first week at work, on the Friday, I lay on my bed and rang my mum, was like, is this what it's like to work? I was like, I could cry. Because obviously I'd been in the army, and it's not really like work. It's like you're constantly at college. Do you know what I mean? Like you're always just going over things that you've already learned. Like, so if there is a war as such, you have to still keep training and keep remembering how to do your weapon handling, how to throw a grenade, how to do like certain exercises, and how to live in a field. It was never really like you're having to work for money. Do you know what I mean? You just felt like you was at college.
And also being with kids, it's such a big responsibility.
Yeah. So when I had to work, I was like, oh wow. So it's tough. It's tough, and then it's tough training. Now working, training, boxing, coaching. I mean.
So hard. Are you planning to go full time with boxing very soon?
Ideally, I'd like to. I mean, when I win these titles, I'll get sponsors that will support me to go full time. That's the plan. Just so that I can focus. I mean, this has been good because I've had 6 weeks holidays, so I've had 6 weeks off work, and then I've asked for 4 weeks off unpaid from work, and they're supporting that. So then I've got like another 4 weeks of just focusing on my training before my fight, and then go back to work the following week.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but at least I can focus for these next, like, I don't know. I mean, it's been 10 weeks that I think I've been in camp for, 10-week blocks. So I've just been training, sleeping, recovering, and then I've said to myself, like, from like now up to my fight, I'm not going to do any PTs. I'm going to kind of like step away from the coaching, just for like recovery, because even that's tiring. You know, holding pads like your elbows, your shoulders.
Yeah.
You're on your feet constantly. So I just said I'm just going to like pull it all just for the next. It'd be worth it when I've got the belts.
Yeah, it was good. When we spoke to Tyler Denny, he said how when he made the switch from going full time, that's you know, he's not lost, and it was just a complete change in his career. So you pretty much, obviously, like you said, been full time for this camp.
Yeah.
where do you see your pro career going? Would you like to finish as a world champion? Do you want to make as much money as possible? What's your goals in the sport?
I mean, women's boxing, you can't really make much money, can you? Unless you're like...
It's changing.
I guess. I mean, Katie Taylor's done well. Serrano's done well. And I reckon Raven and Sky are going to do well for that fight.
Yeah.
Fair play
They're
to them.
paving the way. And to do it in Saudi is just, they're making history.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. But for me, probably it's more about the titles and achieving what I want to achieve. I mean, that's why I've got a job, because I know that the money's not always going to make a difference. I'd like it to, don't get me wrong, but I think that the main thing for me is achieving the goals that I want to achieve, like winning titles. So win this, the British, Commonwealth, go on to the European, and then the world, and then retire.
Who's European champion at the moment?
Spanish girl. I had a look the other day, actually. Yeah, some Spanish girl.
Have you seen her fight?
Yeah, I watched one of her fights. So I'd probably ask for that one next.
So when you're looking at the European and world level, obviously you fancy yourself against them.
Yeah, definitely.
What is the difference that you see from them compared to like the British level? What's the difference? Why are they so much better? Is there anything in particular that you can see that makes them so good? Like, I'm sure the Spanish girl, she's probably maybe got a good work rate, or...
I don't know. I think you got to think it's only now that women's boxing is becoming better, which is since all of like the pool of fighters from GB have now left and turned professional. I think that's now that the tier of boxing has got a lot better within Britain. Mm-hmm. So you got like Karis Hartsell, Lauren Price, Caroline Dubois. You know, they've all levelled up. We've all levelled up. That's why Britain's getting better as a whole, as women's boxing. So that's why you can see these fights, the 50-50 fights, Sky versus Raven, me versus Tizy in Britain. But I think the Spanish girl may have already just been lucky, and some of them you fight people that are quite an easy fight to get to the belt. It's just a tick in the box.
So do you think this new wave coming through from Great Britain, all of you girls are going to be paving the way to become world champions?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I mean, a lot of the women, American women, I think they're probably the strongest. Some I think the Mexicans are just tough, but I think British boxers can outbox them. So I think you'll see a lot of champions through Britain. I think 100%.
And who's your favourite boxer to watch?
Mayweather. I know everyone says it, but do you know what it is? It's just because it's my coach. He like anything that he's like, right, this is the drill we're doing or whatever. He gets it all from Mayweather. So and he always sends me over things to watch, and I sit like if I'm doing my run or whatever, treadmill, I'll be watching. And now I've just got used to like putting him on, or Andre Ward. I'll just put him on.
What's your favourite thing about Mayweather? What do you like about him?
Just how he's like slicky is like how and doesn't get hit after, and it's like trying to mimic what he does, just not getting hit but not getting hit.
And who's your favourite female fighter to watch?
Female fighter. Do you know what? Clarissa Shields is. I rate her. I know as much as not many people like her, but I actually rate her massively. She's got to be one of my favourites. You know, especially her fight. That last fight with Savannah Marshall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, she just dominated her massively.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah, like, and at that weight as well.
Did that break some records maybe in Britain?
Probably.
I think it did, because that was that boxer show was probably over a year ago now, right? It's quite a while ago. That was a great fight.
Yeah, and like how slick she looked, and that's at like 70 something kilo.
Yeah, Savannah's such a good boxer. Yeah. And Clarissa made her look, not that good.
Exactly, yeah.
Just, levels above. And are they both going to be meeting possibly in MMA now?
Are they? I don't know.
I think because they're both with PFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be a good fight. Yeah, that would be a good fight. Yeah, but probably her. I mean, Katie Taylor. She's for what she's done for female boxing. Not British boxing. Female boxing. Has been great. So she's up there with the legacy of the females. And
the way she came back against Chantel Cameron.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of people had written her off. Oh, maybe she's getting too old, and then she boxed brilliantly in the rematch.
Yeah. I do think though that she needs to retire with the legacy that she's got. Not get a defeat from somebody for the money.
But do you think it's hard for her because she's waited so long to get these paydays where she was so good, and now she's getting the biggest paydays? You sort of think, okay, how many more can you get?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd like somebody to be telling me when I need to, like, be careful now.
But like, let's say you were like, I don't know, 35, and someone said be careful, but someone else in your ear saying, do you want 200 grand to be co-main event for this fight?
True.
Then you're going to be like, you know what, I don't want to go.
Yeah, because if I was like, maybe, because then you think about the times when you had to pay for your opponent boxing on small hall shows. You're like, this money is quite good.
Yeah, because you know you work your whole life for it. Since you're 11, starting kickboxing, you're finally there at the end of your profession, and then you got someone saying, nah, you're past it. Like, I would find it hard if I was Katie Taylor to hang it up.
Yeah,
I think she'll probably end up losing to someone that she shouldn't lose to, and then.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and that'd be a shame then.
But then I think the good thing, when you see like MMA and UFC, people always glorify their fighters for what they were like in their prime. And in boxing now, with everyone taking risks, it's all right if someone's got 5 losses. If they've had a great long streak and whatever else, I think there's a lot of good boxing fans that still appreciate them for it. And regardless if Katie Taylor has 3 losses at the end of her career, I think she'll still be.
It's like Michaela Mayer. She's not scared about, like, she's not bothered about the going. Do you know what I mean?
But didn't you think she beat Natasha Jonas?
I don't know. It was a close fight. I think it depends what you're looking for as a judge as well. Because I actually thought she beat Alyssa Baumgarten.
Yeah.
But
same.
then she never. So I don't really know. It just depends. I guess what they're looking for.
Yeah, I thought she won both the fights.
Yeah.
But luckily, like you said, 2 losses doesn't matter. She's such a big draw.
Yeah, and then she's like getting other fights. Like she's fighting Sandy Ryan. That's going to be a massive fight. So I mean, I'm backing Sandy Ryan for that all the way.
Yeah.
But she's getting the big fights, but she's not bothered about like stepping up to the plate and fighting these girls, which is how it should be. Like people, I think in women's boxing, it's harder to avoid females because there's not as many female fighters. Whereas in the men's divisions, like, I mean, we're still waiting to see Fury and Joshua fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're just never going to fight until they're both past the point of fighting, and they're like, oh, let's get a payout, and then just fight when they're too old.
I know, it's tragic.
That's the only thing about male boxing, I think.
But also, I asked Sky, is there anyone that you would like to obviously fight before you finish your career? And obviously, she said Amanda Serrano. Like, do you think for someone like Serrano, she doesn't want to fight Sky because it's like a high risk, low reward?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably that, and she's already like achieved higher, so she don't want to come back down to fight Sky, maybe.
Yeah, but it's no different to like Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis.
Yeah, true.
Even though he's still a world class fighter, but he's not had his shot. Sometimes I think they should come back down because it will be a tough competitive fight.
Yeah. It's the risk that she's not going to take, though, is it?
Yeah, I know. Well, if the money's right, let's say if Sky gets a big win in Riyadh season, then you never know. Amanda Serrano might be offered X amount from Turkey, and it could be huge.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be a good fight.
So
who do you think wins?
Oh, what, with Sky and Serrano? I'll be backing Sky. Yeah. She's got the tools. She's got the tools in her locker. Obviously, Serrano's amazing, and again, she's no different to Katie Taylor, right? They're just they're top of the level, but I think Sky's definitely got the tools to beat her, and she's got a lot of power in her shots. We managed to film her last week at the iBox, and just to see her in person, especially, like, she is special. She's very good. So she's got the world's her oyster, right? She's got all sorts.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's be good. I'm looking forward to the Raven fight, Raven and Sky. That'd be a good fight. So
I think women's boxing is obviously at its best now, and it's growing so much. You've come at a good point. Imagine if you turned pro 10 years ago.
I know, yeah, that's true. But I also think that maybe if you'd have gone a little bit earlier, then you may have, like, the likes of like Shannon. Like, I don't really rate them fighters like Ebony Bridges, but at the time they got the good deals because there wasn't any female fighters. Whereas now it's like hard for females still to get like noticed and signed by them because they're not very interested. They're not interested in signing them. They just want to see good fights. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult. Still quite difficult, but it's got to be getting better.
Yeah, I think as well, like what you've done, calling people out, is the way forward.
100%. I mean, I did it and it's worked. So there's no. I used to think like the time would just come, be quiet and like just wait. But like sometimes you just gotta say, let's do it.
Yeah, well, there's a good saying. It's like opportunities come to those that go out and make them. Like not go and go and waiting. It's so important, especially for you saying that you're calling people out. Like how many boxes out there are so quiet that they never get signed. They're selling tickets. You're never even going to reach a southern area or whatever, because you're not you can't get sales. You can't sell tickets.
Sell yourself as well.
Have you got any advice to anyone that's maybe listening that wants to turn pro?
Probably like back yourself, back your skills and your ability, and like believe in yourself, and don't avoid the risks. You just got to take it, because you're only going to get the opportunity once, and sometimes if you don't, it's gone. Like they offered me that GBM show for 9 days with 9 days notice. Said if you fight on this, we'll get you on the next show. And I says I want to fight Tyson. I took it. And it paid off. I'm fighting for the British and the Commonwealth title. So I think you just got to go out and get it.
So lastly, what is your prediction against Tyson?
I think I'll beat her on points.
Points? Yeah.
We're both technical boxers. It's not going to be a knockout. I'm not looking to knock her out. It's not going to be a knockout thing. Don't get me wrong. I'll take her into the trenches and I'll dig her into the trenches, and but I just think, I'm going to be a domination fight on points.
Well, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Do you want to thank any sponsors?
Yeah, so I just want to thank Dacro. They're sponsoring me towards this title fight, and each month VTA, Homebase, and I've got plenty of others, but Fortress Boxing especially. Thank you to all my sponsors for supporting my fight.
My name is Dennis McCann, professional boxer for Frank Moore and MTK Global. This is Fortress Boxing. A lot more protection. It's a no-brainer around your thumbs, around your knuckles, around my wrist. That's exactly where I have the problems at. They're very compact, so I feel like I'm punching hard with them on as well. And I feel like when you got sparring 14, 16 ounce gloves, the smaller wraps can't really. They're too small for the gloves. That makes sense. So these are a bit bigger, and they're getting the gloves a bit more. They're making them more compact.
1, 2, hook, go.